Welcome back, viewers, to the latest researches and news. Currently, we have two developing information to bring you. As we've mentioned in previous videos, the situation along the Amhara-Tigray and Afar-Tigray borders remains extremely tense, with forces on multiple sides at a heightened state of alert. Today's update covers a reported repositioning of Ethiopian National Defense Force assets, and separately, unconfirmed reports of active fighting near Kobo. Let's go through both carefully. According to credible sources, Ethiopian National Defense Force units have reportedly shifted some of their military equipment from the Kobo area toward Waldia. Separately, reports also indicate that Ethiopian National Defense Force units withdrew from Bure toward the Zobel mountain area. Some reports frame this as forces moving from Kobo toward the Gobia-Waldia area, specifically to protect against potential attacks from Tigray Defense Forces. I want to be upfront about the limits of what we actually know here. We cannot say with any confidence how much personnel or artillery has actually been moved, since no specific numbers have been confirmed. What we do have are witness accounts describing Ethiopian National Defense Force troops, along with some heavy artillery pieces, being relocated from Kobo toward Waldia. Let's think through why a movement like this might happen, since a repositioning like this could reflect a few different things. It could represent a defensive consolidation, pulling equipment and troops back to a more secure or better supplied rear position, rather than keeping them forward at Kobo, where they might be more exposed. It could also reflect a reassessment of where the more immediate threat is expected to materialize, essentially repositioning assets to where commanders believe they'll be needed most. Or, less dramatically, it could simply be a logistics or rotation movement unrelated to any specific new threat. Without independent confirmation of the scale and intent behind this movement, we genuinely can't say which of these explanations is accurate, but the fact that it's happening at the same time as heightened alert on multiple borders makes it a detail worth watching rather than dismissing as routine. There's another angle worth considering too: geography. Waldia sits further south and inland compared to Kobo, which is much closer to the contested Raya Belt and the Tigray border itself. If troops and artillery really are shifting from a forward border-adjacent position like Kobo toward a more rearward hub like Waldia, that kind of move often signals one of two things in military terms: either a deliberate shortening of the defensive line to concentrate strength closer to supply routes, or a response to assessing that the current forward position has become harder to hold, or resupply safely. Both of those readings would fit with what we've been reporting about pressure building along the Raya Alamata and Raya Kobo fronts over recent weeks. It wouldn't be an isolated decision. It would fit the broader pattern. It's also worth thinking about timing. A troop and artillery movement like this happening at the same time as increased alert levels, rather than during a quiet period, tends to suggest it's a reactive decision tied to current battlefield assessment, rather than a pre-planned rotation that happened to coincide with tense conditions. That's an inference, not a confirmed fact, but it's the kind of pattern-based reasoning that's often the only tool available when official statements aren't forthcoming. Separately, we're receiving reports from local reporters describing heavy gunfire being heard in the area surrounding Raya Kobo. Some of these local reporters are claiming that active fighting is currently underway in the area. We're actively trying to connect with sources on the ground to get a clearer picture. At this point, it isn't even established which parties might be involved. It's not yet clear whether this potential fighting would be between Ethiopian National Defense Force units and Fano forces, or between Ethiopian National Defense Force units and Tigray Defense Forces. Given how many different forces are currently positioned in and around this general area, that ambiguity itself isn't surprising. But it does mean we're not going to speculate further until we have something more solid to report. There is one thing worth flagging: the timing of these two reports together. If Ethiopian National Defense Force assets really have just been repositioned away from forward positions near Kobo, and almost simultaneously there are accounts of heavy gunfire in that same general area, those two pieces of information sit close enough together that they could plausibly be connected: a defensive pullback followed shortly by contact, or a pullback happening in response to contact already beginning. But I want to stress that this is a possible connection, not a confirmed one. It's equally possible these are two separate, unrelated reports that simply happened to reach us around the same time. Until we get confirmation from the ground, we're treating them as two distinct data points rather than assuming a cause and effect relationship between them. Viewers, Ethiopian National Defense Force equipment and troops have reportedly been repositioned from Kobo toward Woldia, and separately from Bure toward the Zobo mountain area, though the scale and exact motivation behind this remain unconfirmed. At the same time, unverified reports describe active gunfire and possible fighting near Raya Kobo, with the parties involved not yet identified. We're working on getting confirmed information from the ground, and as soon as we have something verified, we'll bring it to you in the next update. Thanks for watching.